Streaming going live.
Woo!
Encoding overloaded. Consider turning down video settings. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I'll do that when I get a better computer. But we are now live on the internet.
Oh man.
Yeah. Woo! So, yeah, I did not feel like writing down all of the BlizzCon 2018 news in the show notes. I was just like, BlizzCon happened. We'll talk about the big stuff.
The big stuff and the disappointments.
Yeah. I mean, I would, yeah. As far as that, the Immortal stuff. I mean, I think it's fine, but I think, yeah, BlizzCon was not the place.
Oh, I meant the Diablo letdown.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Is like, yeah, it's fine. And like basically people that were on the show floor who played it said, you know, oh yeah, it was actually really fun and everything. So like, I think it's fine.
The opposite.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
The opposite. Yep.
Because it was everybody I follow that played it. All said that it was really fun. But regardless, is like whether or not it's fine. I do think, yeah, like right after the opening ceremonies might not have been the place to, like, Gamescom might have been a better option or something.
Nope. They that was the right spot. They made a poor choice in what game they developed.
Well, that's the thing. They're not developing it.
Well,
they're publishing it.
Right.
Yeah.
They chose the wrong game to reskin from a Chinese developer.
Yeah. Yeah. I have heard there was one theory going around that this is basically a play for the Chinese market.
Probably.
Which is probably the case. But yeah. I don't know. But yeah.
Just glad it stopped raining.
Yeah, for like 2 days, because it's supposed to be like this tomorrow too.
Great.
So that'll be nice.
Great. This is just gonna get wonderful.
Who knows? Maybe I'll actually be able to mow the lawn before I have to take the mower deck off.
You mean you want to mow before it snows?
Yeah. I kind of do. So,
yeah.
Just to help out with ticks too, you know?
Yeah. Actually, somebody at work, internship, had a tick on them this week.
Yeah.
That was so not good.
Yeah. So. But. Yeah. All right. So, which one of you added Delta Rune?
I did.
Okay. Not it.
Were you aware of it? Do you know?
No.
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise.
Interesting. Oh, it's an anagram.
Yes.
I just realized that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys actually get to watch Castlevania?
I've not yet. I haven't had the time.
Season 2 is actually really good.
And
it's 8 episodes. They doubled the number of episodes.
Which is sad, saying that Courtney hasn't had the mental capacity to binge watch TV.
Yeah. But
yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Like, it's on my list. Like, I added it to my list, so it will be watched eventually.
Yeah. Well, and the good news is, like, so the episodes are the same length as season 1. Yeah. So for you, Courtney, season 2 is like
an evening,
2.5 hours.
Oh God, no.
Because they're 22-minute episodes.
Oh God, yeah, that's nothing.
So you can basically do 3 an hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, maybe 3 hours,
Mm,
like somewhere between 2.5 and 3 hours, if you want to binge
yep.
it all.
But still, an evening and then some.
Yeah,
Like having plenty of time out left over.
yeah. But yeah, and they actually start bringing in some of the video game music.
Oh, cool.
It sounds really good,
Nice.
orchestrated.
Nice.
So
Give me a sec. I need to use the restroom before we get started. Sorry.
no, that's totally fine.
No, no bodily functions allowed
Totally
ever.
fine. We are in pre-show, so
Ugh. I just want this new job to start.
yeah. We are currently experimenting with leaving Monty home just alone over the course of the day and seeing how that
For the whole
goes.
day?
Yeah, seeing how it goes.
Okay.
Basically because the other people fell through this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was well,
Impromptu
maybe
experimentation.
it was because I was out sick on Monday, so I was
Yeah.
home, and he basically
Mhm.
napped all day, or he moped. So it's like I don't, and like he didn't beg me to go out, but I took
Yeah.
him out.
Yeah.
But it was like,
Yeah,
if,
it's like
if I didn't take him out, he probably would have been fine.
yeah, it's like when I had the Sunday off and I like surprisingly had an actual full day off.
Yeah.
I went over to my mom's for a little bit and then I went out to the mall and to Crossgates and then I came back and I was gone for a little bit longer than like usual. Um,
Yeah.
because usually like you go to work for 9, right?
Yeah.
So you leave around like 8:30 or he's out around 8:30. I get there around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then you guys are home at 5.
Yeah.
So, but he was fine.
Yeah.
I think he has the capability.
Yeah. So we're experimenting with that a little bit. See how that goes.
Yeah.
Oh god, I don't know what we're gonna do for next week's game. Oh my god. So I have that down there. We'll put a spoiler warning for viewers,
Yeah. Oh,
but
I did. So I did tell Joey like
oh
what
yeah,
happened.
yeah, that the whole chat message that day, and then the battle of the hashtags.
The battle of the hashtags was beautiful. I absolutely enjoyed it so much. I was so glad my phone was like not blowing up though, because
Yeah,
every once in a while when I'm working like nights and you guys are having a chat going on, I'll be like, yeah, I need to mute this until I turn it back on.
yeah,
Because I'll just turn it back on when I get home and then read everything.
yep.
But yeah, that was yeah, yeah.
Although I think I lost the hashtag fight because I ran out of interesting stuff to say. So of course it just goes sail because it felt relevant, but I don't know. But yes, technically the ship has 3 captains.
Yep, yep, it
There are
does.
3 captains on the boat.
I am the captain now.
Yeah, anybody could. I have no idea how it's gonna play out, so we'll have to
It's going to be heavy RP.
see.
Like with everything that happened,
Well, there may
it's
be some one-on-one combat. Who knows? I
yeah.
certainly don't. This is not at all what I had intended.
Nope, but it's what you got.
Yeah.
So let's do it
Oh
live.
my god.
Literally.
Yeah. Yup.
I'm just glad that, Jacobin is not that much of I'm glad Josh is not as much of a jerk as Jacobin is.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I couldn't be friends with him.
Yeah.
Makes for great role playing though.
Yeah. You don't have to fight the monsters he comes up with.
That is true. That is
I
very
do.
true. Did you have game with him this past weekend?
No. No, it's
No,
this
okay.
Saturday. Because we played
Okay.
last Saturday. Or last
Yep.
Friday. So. I have to stop in at some point to make more payments on the thingy,
Okay.
I think. Well, I know I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. You have until the 8th.
Yeah, I have like another month left, yeah.
Yeah, you have like a little over another month, yeah.
And then we started making a list of games that are coming out for Switch that we want to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
But are going to pick them. We're going to try and be good and stagger them, and not just buy them all when they come out at once.
Yeah. That's a good idea with how
No,
much is coming out.
no. I want
Hey,
them, and I want them now, Courtney.
well, remember, and you're gonna get a little spiel from me at the moment. You can always pre-order and put a little bit down on each one, a little bit at a time, when you trade in your old games and accessories and tech.
You can't pre-order stuff that's already out.
Oh, no, you
It's things like
can't.
Mega Man 11 and Diablo 3. And I mean Civ 6 comes out next Friday. So by
Mm-hmm.
the time we would get around to it, it's already out.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as stuff that's actually that's on the list that hasn't come out, I already have them pre-ordered.
Okay. So Sean,
What
you're gonna do is you're gonna tell me one of those which you can wait for till Christmas to get.
I don't know.
That's what you're gonna do.
I don't know which. Well, because Mega Man 11, I'm gonna get on the eShop. I
Okay.
don't know about Civ 6.
Okay. But you're gonna let me know one of those that you can wait for till Christmas for.
Civ 6.
Okay.
That can be for Megan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But and by the two of us, but mostly
Yeah.
for Megan.
Yeah. See, that worked. That was easy. For one of them.
Yeah. And then I'm still on the fence about picking up Monster Hunter World, but I think I may just wait for the next Steam sale or something to see if it gets marked down. Just to try it out.
Yeah.
But no, I still have quite a bit to pay for Let's Go Pikachu and Smashy Bros.
Yeah, dude. And
So,
those come out soon.
Pokemon is also next Friday.
Yep.
And then Smash Brothers is like December 11th, I think.
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had Red Dead blasted into my head, so I'm kind of frazzled on everything else.
Yeah.
But now Fallout is ramping up.
Yep.
So, yeah, between Fallout and Battlefield, those are the ones I'm pushing right now.
I realize that if Red Dead were ever to come out for PC, I still probably wouldn't pick it up because like I was watching the footage and I'm like I would have moments where I'm like, oh, this game looks pretty interesting and everything, and then I would remember, oh wait, I hate cowboys. Like as much as Josh hates pirates, I hate cowboys.
Yeah, see, it's the opposite for me.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's Red Dead is to Josh what Black Flag was to me. Or Skull and Bones. I can't wait for Skull and Bones to come out.
I've still not gotten Red Dead yet.
Oh,
No?
Josh, we were talking about which game can you wait until Christmas to get?
Can I wait?
Which game can you wait till Christmas to get?
Well, I guess I would say Red Dead probably.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Based on that.
I don't think there's anything I was really looking for in this like winter time.
Okay. Mike, because Sean's getting Civ.
If I think of something, I'll let you know.
Yes.
Courtney, just see if you have like an old used copy of like Xenogears somewhere in the back.
Oh my god.
I mean, I know that's a little too far out. But
I mean, anything could come through the doors.
You never know. That day I was in there, a guy was trading in Sega Genesis stuff, which was weird.
that was yeah.
Did you guys
Yeah.
actually take it?
Yeah.
Like, take Sega Genesis stuff?
We take vintage stuff and it gets sold on GameStop.com.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I've taken in like
is that a relatively new policy? Because I remember it was years ago.
they've expanded their retro of what
Okay.
they'll take in
All
of
right.
retro and vintage.
Well, that's
Yes, they
cool.
did recently expand it. Since I've been there.
Courtney, how
but
much do you think I could get for Quest 64?
I'd have to look it up.
Do you think I could get more than $10?
No.
A dime.
Yeah. Considering I looked up an iPhone 4S in working condition will get me $11
Yeah.
in like credit.
For tech, cash and credit is the same thing.
Yeah.
But still, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like,
Because you're how many generations behind now? Or that one is how many generations behind now? I don't know. I don't keep track of Apple's
6.
crazy numbering. Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
No. 5, because they skipped 9.
Yeah, they went right
They pulled
to,
a
from 8
Microsoft
to
and they
X.
skipped 9. Yeah. What about flip phones? Do you take flip phones?
No. I can't plug it into my system. I can't take it in. Anyway.
Yeah. No, we'll probably drop that one off at the post office or something. They do a phone collection for like the Freeman Center. I think. It's one of those places like that.
Yeah, they do it. I'm not sure if it's at the there though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Shall we get started?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, let's just test this. There we go. Going live. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up on episode 119, reactions of the last Smash Direct, news straight from BlizzCon, Castlevania Season 2, and much, much more on the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast, bringing you the latest and greatest geeky news of the week. I am your host, Sean Hayes, and my two wonderful co-hosts, Courtney Bolin.
Hey, everybody.
And living up to his Warcraft fanboy's image of the betrayer, Josh York.
Yes, I have a toothbrush on my desk. Do you?
I have a hairbrush.
I have a pair of scissors.
No.
All equally random.
A screw. I have pair of scissors, a screwdriver, some alligator clips for chips and magnets.
Toothbrush. I have it. It was for scrubbing paint off miniatures I wanted to repaint.
Ah.
On my desk. So it makes some sense.
It makes a semblance of sense.
A little bit.
Sure, let's go with
Okay.
that.
Okay. And we'll actually discuss that sort of stuff later in the show. During our This Week in 8-Bit Adventure segment. But first, there is plenty of news to talk about, so let's dive right into it. Smash Brothers.
Yes.
We had the last direct that we're gonna get, and the last set of reveals. So we got Ken, we got Incineroar, and we got Piranha Plant. So for the three of us, we have something for everybody. We got Ken for Josh.
We have Ryu. We have a Pokemon I don't know.
An
And
amazing Pokemon.
So
Best Pokemon.
Pokemon I've
Incineroar.
never heard of.
Incineroar
And-
is a wrestling fire cat. He's a fire and dark
Incineroar
type.
is what this little cutie turns into.
So he is basically built as like a heel type wrestler. So like he comes in and he like uses dirty fighting tactics and everything, and all of his moves are like wrestling based. So like he'll like conjure wrestling ropes and everything to like bounce off of them and like suplex people while on fire.
Yes.
And then for me, we have a Piranha Plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, I guess. Why not?
It actually looks really cool. But yeah. Also announced there's gonna be a Guile stage
I'm in
complete with Guile's theme. Guile will be in the game as an assist trophy,
Nice.
so you can summon
Why didn't they-
Guile and he'll
They should
fight
just
for you.
give us Guile instead of Ken.
I would have preferred that.
Ken
But-
is just Ryu.
Yeah. Well, that's why he's an Echo Fighter of Ryu.
I know. I hate Echo Fight.
Well, yeah.
Although my favorite Street Fighter character is just basically an Echo Fighter of Ryu and Ken. Sakura,
Yeah.
basically.
But we will have the greatest American hero in the game to some degree. So they
Go
also
home and be a family man.
Yes. I hope the new thing is no longer like Battlefield no items or no Final Destination no items, and it's now Guile stage. Only item is assist trophy Guile.
Yeah. Did it show what his assist? What does he do? A flash kick? Does he throw a sonic boom? What's he do?
A number of it. So assist trophies. What they do is you summon the
They're like another little
character,
character,
and they, it's not like Pokemon where you summon them and they do like one thing.
Okay.
Assist fighters have a variety of attacks that they'll use. And apparently, like if they get KOs, they count for you.
Mhm.
But if they get KO'd, like they're gone or whatever, and it counts as
Right.
like a point for whoever knocks them out.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's a little more interesting in their dynamic. The hidden mode that they teased is going to be called Spirits. And what it is, it's kind of like Subspace Emissary, but not quite, from Brawl, where the story goes that there is some sort of weird multi-dimensional being that kind of looks like some sort of abstract version of Pazuzu from Dungeons and Dragons, who's like an air elemental demon lord,
Okay.
where this demon lord is like lord of like Vrox and stuff like that. It's basically like hundreds of bird wings just all sticking out, and basically unleashes like hundreds of master hands, and they destroy almost everybody and turn them into spirits. The only one that gets away is Kirby. So you play as Kirby to free everybody from their statue forms.
Okay.
Yeah. But like there's some really beautifully drawn maps, like overworld maps that you run around on, and then do fights. Looks like it's combining statues, stickers, and event matches from previous Smash Brothers games. So you'll pick a fight, and if it unlocks like a character or a particular spirit, you might fight. It'll be like an approximation of that character. So like they have, I think it's Gutsman from Mega Man is like a spirit that you can unlock. He's the one where like he does like the throwing thing, right?
I think so.
So what it is you essentially play like an event match where it's against Mega Man, and he has the Gutsman color scheme, and all he does is will use that one move against you that's like supposed to be derived from Gutsman. So like he'll just like grab you and then pick you up and then throw you, and your goal is to just defeat him. And when you do that,
rude.
you get the spirit for Gutsman, and then these spirits you can equip them, and they'll give your character certain benefits, either stat bonuses or certain perks, or like it might make you immune to some things and weak to other things or something. And then you can equip like a number of spirits to help you with stuff. So yeah. It seems to replace trophies, which was a big thing for like the collectors that played Smash Brothers. And there seems to be a lot of spirits. Like I want to say something like over 1,000 spirits.
Oh wow.
To collect, kind of a thing.
Many spirits.
And they're pulling them from like all sorts of
spirits.
stuff. So I mean, I've seen spirits from the Metal Gear series. I've seen them from Baten Kaitos. The Geno will show up as a spirit from Super Mario RPG. You know what? The breadth is much
Baten
wider.
Kaitos, that's a deep cut.
That is. It is really. I mean, it's entirely possible you may see like Doshin the Giant and Goman or Goemon, you know, the mystical ninja.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Like you might see very obscure characters like that show up as spirits. So, and if a character shows up as a spirit, it doesn't necessarily rule them out for being included as DLC or anything like that, whereas like an assist trophy kind of rules them out.
Right.
So I don't think we'll see Banjo-Kazooie show up as a spirit.
I don't think so.
But Knuckles does. I think for that fight, what it is like it's a bunch of invisible Sonics that just throw Knuckles assist trophies at you.
What?
Yeah, so there's a couple times where they do that for the event match, so that like you're technically fighting the person you're supposed to unlock, but it's more like that the fighter that's summoning the person is just like invisible.
Okay.
It gets kind of weird like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. So I'm excited.
Keeps looking better and better.
Yeah.
It's no Street Fighter, but it's a game.
I mean, you can play, you know, Ken versus Ryu.
It's not the same.
One thing about Ken and Ryu is they will auto turn to face their opponent, because that's apparently something that happens in Street Fighter, I guess.
Yes, yeah, depending.
Yeah. So they kept that functionality in Smash, so that they're the only two fighters that do that. So like you will always be facing your opponent.
Something I noticed. Well, I didn't notice. I was reading it. I think it was on Reddit or some forum or whatever. Maybe even YouTube comments. But so he picked up on a little thing Ken has. So a little backstory. If you're familiar with the Evo fighting tournament at all, it's a big fighting game tournament they have every year. Years ago, it was Street Fighter Alpha 3 or Third Strike, whatever. Like PS2, Xbox era Street Fighter, I'm pretty sure. Or Dreamcast, maybe. But it was one of the matches, and this guy, Daigo, he's like one of the best of all time, was fighting, and he was Ken going against Chun-Li, and Chun-Li tried to super or ultimate on him, and he pulled this like ridiculous parried every hit of her ultimate, which is like insane, because it's a ridiculous numbers, and in that game you had to be pretty close to frame perfect in your parries to be able to do it, and your timing was just had to be incredible.
Yeah.
And point being, one of Ken's animations he has that little parry where he like does this and it makes the little like parry noise. I don't know if it's at the start of his super or his ultimate smash or whatever, or if it's just the thing he has. But
I think
it's a neat little thing they added.
I think it might be his down special. Might be a
Maybe.
counter, like a counter parry.
But a lot of people think that's kind of a little nod to that Ken moment in Street Fighter history, which I thought
Could
was
be
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me if it was.
Yeah. So yeah. So Piranha Plant will be the last of the normal fighters distributed. If you pre-order the game and like register it, or if you buy it up to a certain time period and then register the game, you can get them for free. And then I think after that point, he may transition to being like a weird DLC fighter kind of a thing. He will not be available. Well, it won't be available until February. And then after that, they'll work on DLC fighter packs, which will include a fighter, a couple stages, and some music tracks. And I think each of those are going to be like $5.
That's not bad.
No. And then and then they do like a season pass kind of a thing.
I was gonna say, yeah, then they're doing the Smash Pack.
Except the season pass doesn't save you any money. It doesn't cost you extra money either. It's just like, it's literally the cost of just buying 5 at a time. So like normally you would do like some sort of price bundling.
Right.
But in this case, yeah, it doesn't.
But in this case, Nintendo.
In this case, they're not.
Well, in this case, it's just if you just know ahead of time that regardless of what comes out, you're just going to buy them, you can do it at once, but
yeah,
you're not going to save any money by doing so. It just saves you time, I guess.
Ease of access.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for Spirits Mode. They said it'll be story light, so less story than Subspace Emissary, but it's going to focus more on just the fun gameplay part of it. But I always like the event matches and the weird stuff that you could come up with. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well then, I guess we're done with that topic.
I don't have many strong feelings about it because I didn't really like. I'm excited for it because this is actually going to be one of my first experiences at like actually being able to play Smash.
I hate Smash. I'm not good at Smash.
We'll do a Smash stream.
I don't have a Switch.
We'll do a Smash game night at some point.
Yeah, I'll play it. It's just
because by the time it comes out, I'll have the capture card. It'll be paid off. So we'll do it.
When does it come out? I don't even know.
December 11th, I think.
Some kid telling me he's getting it in 2 days today. He's like, I'm getting it in 2 days.
No. That is incorrect.
He's getting the Smash system, like the Switch
system.
system.
But
it
could be
system, because the systems have launched, but you still can't play. Like it gives you a code and you put it into your thing. It downloads, but then it's still locked until 12:01 a.m. on launch day.
12/7 is when it comes out. So, all right. BlizzCon was this past weekend.
Yeah.
Lots of news out of there.
Dumpster Fire 2018.
So the Diablo announcement. So the Diablo Immortal announcement did not go over well. But outside of that, it was kind of just.
It was meh.
Meh.
I keep telling people I'm just meh about everything they said.
Which,
even the Diablo thing, I'm just like meh, whatever.
Yeah, I think I can understand the disappointment from like hardcore Diablo fans and some of the reactions. A lot of the PR was missed the mark, we'll say.
Yeah.
But I think like getting so worked up over a mobile game coming out instead of like news about a big release, I don't know.
Yeah,
But anyway,
I think Josh has it right. It's just
yeah.
it's meh.
So Diablo Immortal, mobile game based on, I forget what the other mobile games are called. And I forget the developer too. Was it NetEase?
Something like
I think
that.
so. NetEase, I believe, is the name of the developer. They work on a lot of properties in China, so this could be a play. Excuse me. A play for Blizzard to kind of gain a little bit more of a foothold in with Chinese audiences. I will not pick it up. Because I don't play ARPGs on my phone. Like
Yeah,
I
I'm just not
also
a big mobile phone person game.
yeah. If I want to play video games on the go, I have a Switch.
For that exact reason.
Yeah. Likewise, if I want to play Diablo on the go, I will just get Diablo 3 for the Switch.
Right.
Yes.
Which
That's
is
something that I found really weird is that Blizzard chose to launch Diablo on launch of BlizzCon. Like,
I don't
'cause
think that's
they
weird. I think that's I think it's fine. I'm certainly glad that because what my worry was when they had said when they had put that there was going to be a Diablo announcement right after the opening ceremonies. And then they said, well, you might want to scale. And then a couple weeks out, they said, oh, you might want to scale your expectations back. We're not announcing Diablo 4. I went, oh no. Is their announcement going to be that, like, that you can play it on the Switch right now? And I was like, oh, please don't have that be the announcement. And then, like, when they pre-announced it already, I was like, oh no. Oh, this is terrible. This is absolutely awful. Oh no, everybody's gonna hate the Switch and Nintendo because it's not Diablo 4. And then it turned out that it was mobile and everybody hates that instead.
Yeah.
So I'm just a little selfishly like, okay, Nintendo kind of skirted under the radar with that one. But apparently it plays really well. And it's like really well optimized for the Switch's hardware, so that's cool. Interesting note, it does not connect to your Battle.net account.
That's weird.
From what I hear. So yeah. Which I think is the case with the other mobile, the other console versions as well.
Yeah.
The
So,
technology exists. Why not just...
Yeah, but your Battle.net is kind of your PC, not really. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing outside of that it connects to would be like Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Which is on mobile because like and like the Warcraft app.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Let's see what other news. WoW Classic next summer.
I think it's great. They finally just embraced it.
No, here's the thing. The guy who said this was right. Nobody actually wants this.
Yeah, from what I hear or what I read a lot of the articles and they went back to play it was like, wow.
Wow, this was actually awful.
Yeah, this is like,
oh really?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's right. All these mechanics and systems kind of sucked.
All the quality of it's mostly just the quality of life stuff you're going to be.
Yeah.
People, I had this conversation with someone the other day. People are remembering 14 years ago when they were much younger, they had much less responsibility, they had much more time to play games like this and do what they wanted. And they're remembering a time when the game was still relatively new and it was like you were exploring a new world and doing new things, and they want that feeling back. And just because you're playing that old version of the game doesn't mean you're going to get that feeling back. That feeling and that joy or whatever you felt was connected to that time and space.
And they also they also remember when the majority of the community was also in that same sort of age demographic without responsibilities and stuff like that and everything. So that like there was a big, huge community that interacted with each other for better or worse.
Yeah.
Right.
Since Baron's chat was a thing. But that again, like I don't think it's going to be there because I don't I don't know.
Nobody wants to spend months leveling the max.
No. And like for me, I don't have 2 hours to sit in trade chat and ask and look for a group.
Yeah.
Right? I barely have the 20 minutes that I have to queue for to do a heroic dungeon.
Right.
Let alone mythics.
Yeah.
Which you can't queue for, but
You can group find though. You can use the group finder thing.
Yes.
Not LFG, you have to like look through
Yeah, no, yeah, it's
groups.
yeah.
But I mean that's still easier than it was.
It is easier than it was.
There's a list of there and you can filter it by
Yeah.
words and dungeon, whatever.
Yeah. So yeah. And
it looks like poop. WoW Classic looks like poop.
That was actually one of the things that people had said. They played the demo and they said, wow, like coming from Battle for Azeroth, like, and going back and looking at those models, like,
that's like going back to play Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's like I take our current models for granted because wow, it was real rough going back.
I think it was also gradual, the model updates.
Yes.
Even look back, because I was looking the other day, like the end cutscenes of Siege of Orgrimmar. That was just when they were starting to upscale them. But even those models, which looked way better than what our character models looked like at the time for like variant and all that, still look like crap compared to the character models and NPC models now.
Yep.
And that was only 4 or 5 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just incrementally they've been, upping and even the environmental graphics and textures and, ground, like density of crap on the ground and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's one of the things I saw a picture of it. I'm like, that Tauren looks awful. Like the hair is totally pixelated and weird, and you can see the polygon shapes so like real clearly. It's just, I don't know. Don't get me wrong.
Think of how far we have come in gaming.
Yeah, it's just I think it's 100% a case of rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah.
And people wanting nostalgia. And you know what? People will play it for a month or 2 and then be completely sick of it.
Well, it's the same reason why people are going to get the PlayStation Classic and then get mad at it, and because it doesn't come with a cord to the wall.
I think that has more value because there's multiple games that will give you more entertainment and time to enjoy.
And with at least with that, you're also getting a physical product, so that there's a collector's value there with it. No. So one of the things is apparently, from what I understand, is that access to it will be included in a regular subscription.
Right, and that's what I was just going to say. So for those of us who already have a sub, okay, fine, it's an extra thing. I may mess around with it, depending on how slow like leveling goes and all that. Because the only thing I want to do in it is the PvP.
Yep.
Another thing. People are like, the talent trees were so much better. Again, that was illusion of choice. That was illusion, not illusion. Illusion. Illusion of choice.
There are some real bad options in there.
Well, again, you're gonna get to the point where there's only maybe a couple valid, viable builds, just like it was back then.
Yep.
If you were Fury, you played. There might be a 1 or 2 point difference in your spec, but the key points were the same. It didn't change your playstyle really. It was like preference of, do you want this extra 2% armor? Do you want extra 2 stamp? Whatever. Like those were your choice. That was your choice. Otherwise, you had to pick all the staples.
Yeah, people complained about not being able to experiment with builds and stuff anymore. But what they don't realize is, if you did any kind of raiding, was by the time you started doing raids, like all that theory crafting was already done. Yeah, people had already done it, figured out the best one, and then you had to pick that build because if you didn't, then you couldn't keep up.
Right.
And then for my experience doesn't necessarily translate to Classic because I didn't play in Classic as I started playing in Burning Crusade, but even back then, let's say as a longtime Beast Mastery player, you kind of had to pick whatever build was like the top build just to even, make it up to the middle of the pack. Except for Start of Wrath of the Lich King. Thank you, Ghost Crawler. Your check from the past is in the mail.
Also, another thing. Oh, hey, you got to level 40 on quests. Oh, you're out of quests now.
Yep.
Have fun grinding and doing this spare quest you kind of find, like, and with no real direction of telling you where to go next.
Yeah. Or
Like
or
the first
you
few
will
zones
have
kind of guide you, but then it's kind of like, okay.
or you'll have 20 quests that all take you to different zones all over the world with
Right.
no rhyme or reason. And like those stupid robotic chicken quests where you find like a mechanical egg, and then it's like, oh, go find this chicken. It's somewhere. It's somewhere on this continent.
Robot chicken quest.
There were like 4 or 5 of them, and it was just like, oh yeah, here's some rough coordinates when the default UI didn't have coordinates in it.
What?
So you were just like wandering. Basically, it was you looked up on and this is before Wowhead was a thing. So it was you looked up on, what was it, Thoughtbot?
Wow.
To basically you looked up on an online database.
I do remember Thoughtbot.
Yeah. And
WowDB.
to like find out where to actually go.
Yep.
Wow.
I
am so glad I never got into WoW.
Because there was no indication of where to go. So it was just, you would just wander around and hope that you stumbled over where this quest might take you.
No.
I think back,
I didn't play a lot of Classic. And when I did, I had no real idea what I was doing, because it was kind of like my first real time play. I played EverQuest 2 a little bit, but not enough for it to count.
Yeah.
It was my first time spending a significant amount of time in an MMO.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of things I remember, like, that was cool about vanilla. Like, I remember being level 58 or something and going through like Red Ridge, and I actually played Alliance back then, on my warrior, and some horde rogue was just ganking Lobby, like level 20 Lobies in Red Ridge, and I went out and fought him and beat him, and like I felt like a kind of a cool hero, because all like the Lobies were cheering me and stuff after, like, and we were all like dancing around his dead body. So
gee, that's not.
And that was kind of like an organic. That was an organic moment. I liked the PvP ranking system with like your sergeant, your captain, your whatever, until you get up to like field marshal or whatever.
Yep.
And there could only be one person who was the top rank, and that depended on like how you, whatever your win ratio or
like
whatever.
Second edition druids in D&D.
It was like it was your honor, whatever your honor level was.
Yes.
Like, and there could be one high whatever field marshal and one high warlord on the horde. I think there's something similar to that now in PvP, but it's not exactly the same. I think they kind of still have those titles, but it's not the same as it was, which I think that was cool. That'd be the one thing I'd play Classic for, because I like that. People are like, oh, I love 24-hour AV battles.
No.
I remember I would log off and log back in, and my character would still be in the same battleground.
Which meant that you AFK'd in a battleground, and that makes you a terrible person.
Yeah.
Yes,
again, I just think
I concur with that.
It's all 100% nostalgia, and I think once people play it, they're going to realize how nice the quality of life stuff is.
One of the other things that was also noted in the Q&A panel, hosted by one of my favorite podcasters, Scott Johnson. The characters that you make for Classic will be like, even though it'll be part of your battle.net account, it'll be treated as a separate account for the purpose of like items and stuff. So you won't be able to just like, make a character, log into Classic, and then get all the Classic items and then have them available for transmog or something. They said that's not the reason why people were asking for Classic, so that's not what we're building it for.
People were asking for Classic because for some reason they think it's a better game.
Yeah, and they're like, and so that's exactly what we're going to give them.
Yeah.
Well, I think another thing too, because like I remember, Sean, we were talking about this months and months ago, that there was still that vanilla server that was not sanctioned.
There's still plenty of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I think some of this really might be them being like, oh, so a lot of people do still want this. Let's just give it to them. because of that nostalgia factor, because
well,
of that whatever
Blizzard's doing
else
it because there's
was.
enough of a community that thinks they enjoy it.
And they might.
think
They legitimately might. Some people
and they might.
like.
Friend of the podcast, Josh Carty, is occasionally one of those people. And this is a way for Blizzard to do it in-house, so to do it to their quality of standards. Because one of the things that these private servers are notorious for is that they are riddled with game crashing bugs. So, they have, and Blizzard has also said that they'll do stuff like the opening of Encourage and big events like that. So I don't know if that means that eventually the classic servers will progress to Burning Crusade and then we'll just basically repeat it all over again, or if they'll just they'll do those special events and then just nothing else happens ever.
Or I don't know, will they once a year do AQ or
maybe, I don't know.
Or will they make new content for vanilla?
No.
New content for vanilla? I don't see that happening.
They won't do that. No, they would rather. I can guarantee that they would rather spend time making new content for
100%.
Base game.
I don't think they have a particularly large team working on Classic.
No, I think they have just enough people to get it.
Appease the loudmouth small community of people that want this.
Yeah,
just basically to shut them up.
I would say that's a fair assumption.
Yeah.
Also, during the Q&A panel, we had one legendary individual named Chris Metzen show up.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
And this was Scott was actually talking about, in the moderator of the panel was talking about on his daily morning show, the morning stream, and was joking around and saying he's good friends with Chris, and that they were actually talking about it over dinner and everything, and and Scott mentioned that, I'm moderating the panel and everything or whatever, wouldn't it be funny if you showed up at the panel and asked a question or whatever, and then Scott was like, oh, but that that kind of sounds like a dumb idea or whatever, and then Chris was like, no, that sounds really cool, that's that would be really funny,
I'm gonna do it,
and then they started to talk to the people, and then Scott didn't know if it was actually going to go through or not, and then when he saw him come up, it was super funny. But so then Chris Metzen basically asking, when are we going to get the true war chief of the Horde back?
He basically asked, where's Daddy Thrall?
Yes. Yeah. When is the Horde going to get its real war chief back? I.e., hey, if you guys want to ask me to do some VA work, I'll do it. Or I guess VO work. VA.
Yeah.
I'll come back and do it. And they said, well, there might be, we don't know for certain, there might be an opening in the future. And if there is, we'll call you.
Well, what he said was, and this is,
we'll let you know if there's open.
Soft confirm, at least if one thing is, he's like, I think there's going to be an opening for a new war chief soon.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
I mean, we all know Sylve's not going to last this.
Yeah.
Either alive or not, I don't know, but she won't be war chief by the end of this for sure.
No. I have also been spoiling myself a little bit on 8.1 cinematics. So I've been watching that. Those are interesting. I'm not going to divulge them here because they go into, kind of spoiler territory, and it's from data mine stuff.
Is it from the raid?
Not just the raid. It's it's stuff surrounding the raid.
Okay.
But a bit we know Dark Shore's the next Battlefront kind of a thing, so it's cinematics related to the lead up to that.
Yeah.
I will spoil this because it's Alliance, and Josh, you don't care, but
and I listen to everything, but nothing really sticks.
So
wow.
So spoilery, but it's basically Tyrande asks Anduin for troops to help retake Teldrassil, and Anduin says I can't. This is a big giant mess we've gotten ourselves into, because even though we're pretty much holding our own and we're doing really well, there's a lot of casualties on both sides, and I cannot spare more troops to go send them off. And so she's like, fine, we'll do it ourselves. And then come to find out, the Night Elves actually found their backbone once again. And they do a video for that war front, and Malfurion gets super spooky.
Yeah, finally. He's finally not a big wimp. He's finally not the worst druid of all time.
Let me tell you, I had minor nightmares on that look of when that orc gets buried alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, druids, they're scary, man.
And I don't know how to feel about Nathanos. I don't know if I just don't know.
Yeah.
I can't get a read on him. I mean, he acts all like, yeah, I'm for Sylvanas, but I have this feeling he's kind of just playing his own game.
No, I think he's one of the few people that, he's all in for Sylvanas because he's all fanboying over her.
Well, he's
the boy toy.
That's his bae, yeah.
But anyway, so in this scene, so Tyrande basically goes, fine, we'll do it ourselves, and leaves. And then Anduin's like, well, I guess, all right. He goes like, champion, you go and make sure that like she doesn't die or whatever. And in the meantime, Gen's also like, hey, we kind of owe them. We're gonna go too. And Anduin's just like, I don't know anymore. And then meanwhile, Velen's just like standing at the side of the table, and he doesn't say anything during the entire cutscene.
Velen's just like, I already did my thing last expansion.
Velen's like, I have this magical spaceship that can blow everything up, but we're not going to address that at all.
I avenged my son. I'm fine.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's stuff concerning Mechatork. There's a lot of stuff concerning Bane. We see some stuff concerning Vol'jin.
Did you watch the videos of like going around to all the different death gods?
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, Bwonsamni's like, there could be like any number of people that cause this problem, but here, let me give you the short list of people that I don't like. Let's go ask them. And then they're all like, no. And he's like,
I like Bolvar, who's just like, no.
Get out.
Leave or die.
No, why are you here? Stop bothering me. Get out.
He's like, you're neither undead nor damned. Leave.
Yes. Yeah. And then Vol'jin, we find he is trapped between worlds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's some other developments regarding basically more stuff that Sylvanas pulls that Bane is not okay with in a continuing saga of things that surprise nobody. But
Sylvanas is bad.
Yeah. But one of the interesting things is during that quest line is it gives the Horde players some agency to decide if they want to go along with Sylvanas' plan, or if they want to kind of rebel against it a little bit and side with Bane and Saurfang.
Yeah.
And they did mention that it's going to be a bit of a testing ground, in that they're going to experiment with that and see, and experiment a little more with player agency, which my hope is that it goes well, because anytime that they actually increase player agency with what's going on in the game can only make it better.
I mean, it's nice to ride your little roller coaster and go through your story, but interesting to have a choice too.
Yeah,
even the illusion of choice.
And no, what they said was we want to make sure that they're actually meaningful choices, because like, if your choice is like, I can't remember how they described it. It was like, if go kill 10 boars or go kill 10 dragons, but at the end of the day, it's you get the same rewards and everything. Well, then that choice didn't matter, and
you still get an uncommon.
And then it's players are asking, why did I bother having a choice? Developers are asking, why did I bother putting all the work in to make the two choices if it's all going to just come out for the same thing? So they actually want to make sure that there are different consequences for the different sets of actions.
Consequences for your actions? Never.
Well, and it's consequences related to the actions that you picked, as opposed to like, it doesn't matter what path you took, it's all going to end up at the same place. So I'm actually kind of intrigued by that.
I'll say I am a little interested for the storyline in 8-1. I like that idea for that raid. I mean, I always like raids that are in actual cities.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the raid being a little bit different for each faction. I wish they would have gone the full step and had 2 different raids completely, like 2 different places, 2 actual different instances.
Yeah.
But I think all those like method people would be too like, oh, what about my world first? How do I figure it out?
They all need to make alliance characters then.
Exactly.
Because I think Method's Horde, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All the top rated guilds are Horde.
I can't imagine them not being. Well, back in the day, Ephemera was alliance. We were number 4. We were actually the number 2 alliance guild on the server. We were number 4 overall. But anyway, yeah. So
they teased a little bit 8-2.
They did. Yes.
Two
it's
new zones.
Jara and Najatar.
Is one of those underwater? I just assumed.
I actually heard that she's going to be raising it up, so it looks like it might be just a regular zone.
Good. No Vashir nonsense.
Makes me sad.
Yeah, I know.
Makes me sad.
I'm
glad. Not that one Greg Street is listening to this podcast, but once again, thank you. And at Nerdtacular, I was not speaking ironically. That actually was my favorite zone. One of my favorite zones.
I could see why. It just frustrated me and annoyed me. That's all.
Yeah. What I'm annoyed with is the fact that I can't use that seahorse like anywhere.
Yeah.
Even in that zone now.
What?
Like if I have other characters that go in that zone, like they can't use the seahorse. That's specifically meant for that zone.
Yeah. Why?
I think it's some bug that got introduced when they did the mount collection, and like nobody brought it up because nobody else ever bothered to go back to Vashj'ir.
Yeah, everyone was like, "I'm glad I never had to go there again."
I'm the only person that went back there. Like years later, so it's like
Did you watch any of the Sparky Boy Sourfang cutscene? In-game one?
No.
Like with his quest line?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's basically after Anduin releases him.
How very interesting.
I don't, like, you go find him. I don't know. No, I think Sylvana sends you to go kill him. Like, she finds out he escaped. She thinks he escaped.
Yeah.
And she's like, champion, go take care of this. And you find him, and Sparky Boy is there. And basically, you let Sourfang beat you up.
Yes, you did tell me about this.
To make it look like...
To make it look convincing.
Make it exactly. And what's he say? He's like, one of the voice lines is like, brace yourself. I'm not practiced at pulling my punches or something. He says. And I think the screen just goes black for a second, and you wake up. He's like, "Oh, that looks convincing." And you go back, and basically, Sourfang's like, "I'm gonna do my part to try to rally people who still have honor."
Yep.
Which I hope there's like a choice where you pick Sylvanas or you pick Sourfang.
I'm kind of hoping for that as well.
I think the overwhelming majority of Horde will pick Sourfang. But
I don't know, man. The response after... So we also got a new cinematic. It's called Lost Honor.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Good cinematic. Like, and a lot of people, were saying like, Anduin's a soft boy and everything, and like he can't do anything, and he's not that great of a king and stuff. But the fact like when Sourfang's standing above you, punches the wall, and could bring the wall down if he chose to, and then you're just like standing there, and then you're still like talking to him.
Sourfang's basically chose to sit in that cell. Like I don't think if he wanted to, he could have just left.
Yes.
Like he could have broke out.
He could have easily broke. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's just a wooden door, right?
No.
Was it wood or was it iron?
It was metal, yeah. Iron.
Let's be real though. I mean, he could cleave that door even without his axe.
With his fist.
Yeah. But yeah. So, I think people aren't necessarily giving Anduin enough credit, but what else is new?
My only annoyance is like this was kind of a predictable outcome. Like you knew this Horde Alliance war wasn't going to last.
Oh no, it never can.
Particularly after Ajara, when we're going to have to deal with N'Zoth.
Yep.
And it's going to be like the same old thing. Oh, we need everybody.
Yep.
Like, this is not one side or the other could do this. I really do, especially that medicine thing got me hyped. Thrall needs to come back.
Mm-hmm.
I think Saurfang doesn't want to be war chief. He's too old.
Yeah. What if? Here's what we do. Saurfang finds Bane and Vol'jin, and then the three of them go on an adventure. Sorry, the four of them with Zakan, because they got to bring Zappy Boy with them.
Zappy Boy.
And they go find Thrall. And they go help Thrall get out of retirement.
Yeah, like he needs to learn how to communicate.
Channel the elements again. And you do another circuit around the elemental realms, and have Thrall apologize to all the elemental lords.
I'm sorry, Ragnarok.
Wait, you have him do an apology tour?
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah. And then and I would just love for like half the elemental lords to just be like, there was nothing wrong. I don't know why I can't grant you the power. There's something. I blame Neptulon or something like that.
Yeah, some rando.
Everybody blames Neptulon or something.
Or no, it's gonna be like N'Zoth was blocking us or something.
It might be.
Yeah.
One of the things is, so little spoilery, but like when you talk to Bwansamdi about the fact that like Vol'jin can't hear him, he's like freaked out by that. So there is something at work here.
Well, that's now. Like that's in the game now.
Oh, that's in the game now.
Yeah,
okay.
Like you do this whole quest line with his urn, and you talk to the princess Talanji, and she's like, "Oh, this Vol'jin seemed like a pretty great leader. We should put his urn with our kings, with the great kings and leaders of the trolls, because he was awesome." And you do this whole thing of getting his urn, blah 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 blah, and then Bwansamdi's like, "No, I want his urn. Bring it to me. Bring it to my necropolis." So you go to his necropolis and you bring his urn there. He's like, "All right, Vol'jin, we're gonna be talking now." And Vol'jin just doesn't show up, and he's like, He's like, "Oh no, I lost it." And he's like, "Oh, the boss is gonna be mad."
Oh no, this is a different cutscene.
Oh, a different one.
It's a different one when it's after you summon Vol'jin, and then he mentions like that he hasn't heard anything from anybody, kind of a thing, or like that somebody spoke to him, he can't remember who it was, or whatever. But like that he hasn't really heard anything from Bwansamdi, and so like then you go talk to Bwansamdi and you're like, "Hey, what's going on?"
I wonder if Vol'jin's gonna be like some Magni, like weird.
There is speculation that
in between character.
May be that he'll be a new Loa.
Yeah,
because there's like some weird stuff going on with him. That he'll either be a new Loa of Kings, or I thought was a really interesting theory is he's the Loa of the Horde.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Was like the Horde actually gets its own patron Loa.
That'd be interesting.
And it's Vol'jin, right?
Oh, yeah.
That would be really cool.
Best War Chief lasted one expansion.
Yeah. I don't know. You should have lasted way more.
Well, I remember when it happened because that was at Siege Orgrimmar where Thrall's like again passing off to somebody else. He's like, "Here, you be the Horde Chief."
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Actually, yeah." Everyone's like, "Yeah, that feels good. That feels right."
I was 100% behind it, and then when it was all like Varian, finish the job, like do it or whatever. I was like, no, Vol'jin will actually work with us. He's cool. Just be cool, man. And then Varian was like, no, we're gonna keep an eye on you, but just do right. And then he walks away or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
walk away.
Yes. Yeah, he walks away. And he turns into ravens and everything. Sure.
Is he Medivh now? What the heck?
No, Medivh doesn't walk away.
I know.
Okay. Anyway.
Talk about the raven.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, we got new hero for Heroes of the Storm. Orphea.
Yeah. Seems interesting.
The Raven King's daughter.
The interesting is she's not from another game.
Yes.
She's purely designed
for Heroes of the Storm.
For Heroes of the Storm. Which is cool. I heard in the beta, whatever, testing right now, she's super strong.
Yes.
Like insanely strong.
Yeah, she's a little strong.
Give
Uh,
her a
ev-
little
Gonna
tap
get
with a Nerf bat.
even more than
just a
usual for
little.
new heroes. Yeah, so they'll probably dial her back as they usually do. For Overwatch, we're getting a new hero, Ash.
Yeah.
See, a former co-worker, we'll say, of one McCree.
Yeah.
Sure.
And she's got some really cool merch coming out too, by the
Mercer
way.
Mercer did confirm that they did not have that McCree and Ash did not have some sort of romantic relationship.
Yeah.
And I'll take his word for it because Lord have Mercer. But yeah, she wields a pump action or like a bolt action shotgun or bolt action rifle.
It's a lever action rifle.
Yeah, lever action rifle. And like her sidearm is a sawed off shotgun.
Yes.
She throws a bundle of dynamite.
I love her.
And her
ultimate so much.
Her ultimate is she summons Bob, who is like a sort of Wild West gentleman poker player robot.
I know, I love him so much.
Yes. He's a saloon bot, yeah.
He's got the bowler hat.
Yep.
I just love it all so much, and I may actually like really start playing.
Oh, I don't know if it's enough to get me to start playing again because
it might
Overwatch
be
is tough.
To get me to think about starting to play.
It's the same with me. I mean,
but
I would do it if we managed to get like everybody in like our Jamora group and stuff, like, and just do like custom games where it was just us playing, maybe, or well, definitely. Like if I knew everybody that was playing in the match, I would absolutely do it. But like, I am, as is the case of a lot of people, I am just more into the lore of Overwatch than I am into the actual game.
I'm just always interested in the character design and the little videos they do, and the art and the story. And the gameplay itself. The gameplay it's just not for me.
Yeah. But yeah, what I don't know is if you're playing against her, if you're playing as her when you launch the ultimate, and she goes, "Bob, do something." My hope is that it's if you're playing against her, that's what you hear, and then all of a sudden you just see Bob like running out, like firing turrets and stuff like that. But yeah,
I don't know. I'm so looking forward to seeing some gameplay videos of her.
Oh yeah,
she just looks like so much fun.
Yeah, and I'm actually really interested to see what Bob's like.
Yeah.
Because it seems like he would just be an AI controlled entity, which can always be kind of dicey how that goes.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be
like it might be that he just like sticks by you and like provides cover for you and covering fire.
Like I think he'll be like a little bodyguard or almost like a little mobile turret that'll just run around and do like a trophy in Smash.
Oh,
kind of.
That's like an assist trophy.
He'll have
have
a set amount of things he can do, and that's what it'll do.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's what I think it'll be.
Yeah,
and it'll last for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but
yeah. So last up, Hearthstone. We got Brawl of Rastakhan.
Ooh.
Going in with our Zuldazar theme here.
I like that it's trolls. I like that it's Loa. It's still Hearthstone, and I'm still probably not going to play.
I haven't played in like 2 expansions. I don't know if Brawl of Rastakhan's enough to pull me back in. I just don't know. It's for me, it's when Ben Brode and Young Woo like left the development team that took a lot out of it for me. So yeah. And I haven't been back since.
Hammer. Yeah, I think the guy who did the presentation for Hearthstone was the best presenter at BlizzCon. He just seemed to have the most energy.
At the one this year?
Yeah. I think it was him.
Probably. I know in previous years, I mean, it was hard to top Ben Brode as far as a presenter goes.
Yeah.
Actually, what was funny was I heard basically out of all the people, we'll call it Blizzard oriented, is that it was still Chris Metzen that had the most energy, that gathered the most energy out of all the
I meant
people
to say
speaking.
this when you brought him up, and we moved on. It's my mind. That just, I don't know, the energy that he does have, and use clear passion he still has. You can hear it for the game. Is I feel like Blizzard is missing that in their team right now.
I think it's simply
Ian's fine. I actually like Ian. A lot of people don't like Ian. I think Ian's good. I think he's just very pragmatic in how he looks at things, and he's very matter of fact.
Yeah,
which is fine because I'm very much like that too. So I get his perspective. Like he thinks he's doing what's best for the game and for the community when he does something.
Absolutely.
And he takes feedback, and you can tell he considers it, but just sometimes the way he presents it, it seems like he's being a little douchey.
Yeah.
But I think he's just, like I said, I think he's just very mechanical and pragmatic in his thinking.
Yeah,
which
I would agree. I think I think Blizzard right now just lacks somebody that has that
when you
rock
see
star,
who's one of the guys who made these characters, who did some of the original art and all this stuff, who's still like for the Horde. He's like really into it. He's not saying it just to say it. Like he legitimately is like, yes, is like I still love this.
Well, what's funny is like. He was like, he's like, I have two questions. He's like, the first question is, where my Horde at? And like the crowd like goes nuts. And they actually like they turn all the lights red in the place and everything. Yeah. And then he's like, and he's like, not to offend any Alliance people. And then afterwards he's like, just screw it. Where's my Alliance at? And then they like, and it was like even more cheers and everything. And they turned it blue.
There's more.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
And you can see he's like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay. He's like, well, I actually have two more questions.
but I feel like they don't have that personality. Anymore.
Yeah,
like
I would have said
that guy or gal who's the face of Blizzard and who's there and who like really get people hyped up for things.
That was the thing. Like after Metzen, I honestly would have said Ben Brode was probably their second biggest personality, because he brought a lot to Hearthstone. And then when he left, it was the impact is. I mean, I don't know if you saw the Rastakhan video, but like, I think if they're gonna continue doing videos like that and everything, they might need to get people that work on just their on-screen presence.
Yeah.
And a little bit of just their, because like I think they can do a good job, but it just felt a little rigid in the acting.
Yes, I felt all of the presenters pretty much were very
it seems like people that are really good at their job and are good at, designing systems and stuff like that might not have the charisma to do the presenting part.
These are guys who are probably in director positions because they were doing the trench work and work their way up into those positions just through knowledge and experience, not because.
And honestly, like they
may
be
they're charismatic leaders. It's because they just know their area.
I mean, they may be very effective leaders and effective at managing teams of what they do, but not necessarily having like the rock star attitude of like getting up in front of a stage of million. Which, mind you, one of the reasons why Metzen retired was because he couldn't do it anymore. Like his doctors told him, like, you can't do it anymore. And so, like, because getting up in front of those crowds and everything was, like, giving him, like, panic attacks to the point that he thought he was having heart attack type stuff. Which is, people were like, oh, maybe this means, like, Metzen will come back and everything. And it's like, no. He's retired. He does not have to do anything with his time, and he's enjoying that.
I bet they still consult with him.
Oh, absolutely.
They'd be dumb not to.
And, like, if they need it, and,
that's the thing.
He has stated like he's
very different.
He's always happy to go back in and like if they need like voice work for Thrall or Varian or something, he'll absolutely go back in and do it, because he enjoys it. But like it's just the having to go in on like a 9 to 5 schedule and the crunch time and like presenting at BlizzCon and stuff.
Is hell, man. It's a lot of work.
So he won't be back at Blizzard on a full-time basis, but he'll still pop in every now and again as they request him. Yeah. So.
You said the last thing, but you forgot the most interesting thing they said they were going to release.
The most
Warcraft
interesting thing?
3
Oh,
Warcraft
right.
3 Reforged.
Yes, Warcraft 3
yeah.
It's the only
Reforged.
thing I'm legitimately interested in playing.
There was so much stuff.
There's seriously
There was actually quite a bit of stuff, but it
There
was just a
of
lot of it
stuff,
was
but none of it was very significant.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why I say everything was meh. Even the Warcraft 3 thing, I'm kind of like meh. I've
I
played
mean,
this game before.
it's essentially a remaster, but it's a
It
really good looking remaster.
looks nice. I think they're gonna remaster all those
Oh, I think so.
like FMVs too, I heard, which I'm
Yes.
totally cool with that.
Yeah, they
'cause
are.
I still like watching those.
So now you can see Arthas kill his father in 4K.
What?
Yes.
Because that's what your life absolutely needs.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know.
That is one of the most iconic scenes in Warcraft history.
I would say that's
Oh,
one of the most
really?
iconic cutscenes in video games.
Yeah, easily. I would say.
So you bet if you showed me that cutscene that I would be like, oh my god, wait, I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how much video games you played in like the early 2000s.
But let me tell you, Courtney, most of those cutscenes in the early 2000s, they were bad.
Hey, those ones aren't that bad. Those are still had good cutscenes back then.
Or 96 cutscenes.
Yeah.
That's a Zerglin, Lester.
96, I didn't even have a system at all.
Yeah, let's just say we've come a long way in computer graphics technology since then. Anyway, yeah, so that's coming. I don't know if I'll pick it up.
I don't know either. It'll depend on the price.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I'll just play it for single player.
Yeah.
It's fair.
But
yeah,
also,
I already did that when I was 17. So
yeah.
like, I don't need.
I think I played through.
That was half a lifetime ago, literally, for me.
I played through 3 of the campaigns. I didn't actually get to the Night Elf campaign, and then I was just like, I'm done with this. I can't.
No. I always played Night Elf. For whatever reason, I thought the Night Elves were so cool because they threw those little bouncing
the glaives.
Whatever. The glaives.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest thing, so I always just made a bunch of those.
It was every unit is Xena Warrior Princess.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But also Destiny 2 is free for a limited time.
Yeah, I think that was pretty neat to do.
Yeah,
granted,
it's a neat thing.
You don't get all the DLC, but hey, why not?
Sure.
I have not installed it yet to play it, but
I haven't either.
I've thought about it, but I haven't thought hard enough to actually do it.
I don't think I will.
I've been compelled enough.
Yeah. Even if it's free, I'm not sure if I will.
It's one of those things. That's a game where I would need a group of people that I'm going to play with all the time.
Yeah.
Right. You need your group of 4 people that you're always going to play with.
Yep.
That's how one of my favorite games of all time, Borderlands 2, was. I played through it on my own, but when I played that game with a group of like the same 4 people, like it was just so much more fun just playing with that group over and over again.
Absolutely.
All the DLCs you did, it was way more fun. Those are the types of games you just got to have it for.
Yep.
It's actually that for me at any point, all online games is I need to play with a group of people that I'm familiar with. Otherwise, I said that before. I only play WoW because the group of people I've played with forever play WoW.
Yep.
Not because I'm that interested in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I am to some extent, but not that much.
All right. Well, that finally gets.
That's BlizzCon.
We're finally done with BlizzCon news. That took up a huge chunk of time, but it was a
big event.
It was a big event. Also, related to conventions, I think PAX East tickets went on sale today. Maybe.
Yeah,
I saw a post from a friend of mine that she bought. She actually pulled. She was like on one of the main thoroughfares, we'll say, in Boston, and actually pulled over on the side of the road to buy tickets. I managed to snag Saturday tickets for PAX East. But yeah. So public service announcement. By the time you hear this, they might already be sold out, but who knows?
According to the website, they are still available. Saturday is completely sold out. And as of 8:58 or 8:50 whatever on November 7th, Thursday is available, Friday is available, and Sunday is available.
See, that's weird. Like, so that you can go on Thursday, Friday, or Sunday. I don't know. I also presume that the weekend passes are probably all gone.
Yeah, I think that's why, because each day is $57, but
Yeah.
this PAX Saturday only badges are sold out.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't think any of us are going. So
Speak for yourself, dude.
I went one year.
I'm uninterested in conventions.
Yeah, I'm kind
like
of
cons.
I'm
many
kind
people
of
waiting in lines to do crap. That's not my scene.
Oh, one of the things about BlizzCon I heard,
yeah,
security was awful.
Oh yeah,
really?
It was horrid. That it was individuals that had media passes. They weren't letting them in with equipment. They were actually like berating people that had talent badges.
Really?
That yeah, it was just like a lot of unprofessional people
wow.
in charge of security. And apparently they had contracted out multiple security companies. So it was the case where like some security companies were actually competent and other ones weren't, and it was just inconsistent. One guy was bribed, like to let people like cut the line and stuff like that or whatever. He got fired.
Wow.
Like he was eventually fired. Yeah, total mess. So yeah, I'm kind of done with conventions unless something actually picks up and warrants bringing a crew there. But
yeah, because right now, going for Friday and Sunday with tax and shipping, it's $124.
Nope.
I would maybe try and go for like maybe Friday and like make a long weekend of it or something.
Yeah. I'll watch the Acquisitions Inc. game on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's really what I did at PAX when I went in 2010. I think it was 2010. Was like the extent of what I did while I was there was I played in a demo game for 4th edition Dark Sun, died 20 minutes in, so then left. It was supposed to have been like a 4-hour block, and half the party died 20 minutes in. Because it's Dark Sun, there's no resurrection magic. So it was just, well, I'm not going to sit at a table and watch other people play D&D. I think there was a bunch of, like, I just went around, saw the bunch of the booths. There was some, like, little checkerboard D&D thing where you could win swag if you basically had 2 turns to beat a boss, and you went in with, like 4 other people. Like, you formed an adventuring party, and you went in, and you basically had 2 turns to kill this enemy. And it was basically, if you didn't, you got, like, a little swag bag, and if you did, you got some extra stuff. We did, got extra swag. And then, like, I went to a Scott Kurtz panel. And that was the entirety of my Penny Arcade experience. My PAX experience. Not a whole lot was actually done.
I will say this, PAX South, which is January, has 3-day tickets available.
Yeah, but that involves going to Texas.
Yeah, I have an inn in Texas.
But anyway, we are getting off topic, and we got more stuff to talk about.
Off topic.
So, Josh, you want to talk about Deltarune?
Yeah, kind of a surprise drop from Toby Fox, who was the creator of Undertale, which was like the smash indie game of 2015. I wrote in the notes, I wrote sequel, but it's not really, and nor is it a prequel. It is a parallel, from what he says, a parallel world to Underworld's world. Or Underworld, Undertale's world. Underworld's a movie. Yeah, sorry. So it's interesting. I've watched a little bit of the gameplay. I haven't watched too much, just in case I want to play it for myself. But all the Undertale freaks are already making their theories and
Yeah.
whatnots, and they want to date Sans and whatever. But it says this is chapter 1 of a
Oh,
bigger
interesting.
thing. But he's like,
Interesting.
again, I basically made this on my own. To make the full game I want to make, it would take me my lifetime to do this on my own. So he's like, he said he's looking into making a team, so that he can quicken the pace of development.
Yeah.
And do
Nice.
things. And he's like, I have no idea when this is gonna go. And then this kind of came as a surprise. I don't think anybody was really expecting this. Just drop last week, and people were like, what the heck is this new Undertale game? So if you're into Undertale, I would say check it out if you haven't already. I'm sure if you're into Undertale, you probably already know all about this. In this one, you have a little party of 3 instead of you're just the one person.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The battle system's similar with, like, you got to move the heart around and dodge the things. But again, I think there's some little differences. I think you could still choose to kill or not kill any enemy you fight.
Yeah.
That whole choice deal.
Yeah.
Which is a game where your choices do matter.
Yep.
In the outcome of the game. So I just thought it was an interesting little tidbit that dropped last week.
Yeah.
Give it a mention.
Nice.
Castlevania Season 2. We talked about it. I finally watched it. It is quite good.
Solid Snake, I heard you like Castlevania.
This one, it's so Season 2, it's a bit of a slow burn. But then it pays off at the end when they finally I'm gonna try not to give too many spoilers. So if you don't want to hear it, you might want to skip ahead a little bit. But basically, they do fight Dracula. So it's Trevor Belmont and Cyphia, who's a magician, and Alucard. The 3 of them, they get into Dracula's castle, fight through a bunch of vampires, and fight Dracula.
Ooh, never would have imagined that.
Yeah, it's. I don't know how much of a spoiler it constitutes, because that's kind of the whole point of the game that the series is based on. Or that's
next thing you're gonna tell me is Alucard is just Dracula back.
Next thing I'm going to tell you is, so I will say, they do not utter the line, "What is a man?"
Don't watch this. 0 out of 10.
However, you will get to see. They do have a couple sequences where, that are chock full of Easter eggs from the games.
Is there wall chicken?
Wall chicken. I don't know what that means.
Oh my god. Have you ever played the original Castlevania?
No.
Oh my god. So sometimes you hit the wall with your whip and there's chicken and you eat it and it refills your health.
Oh, okay.
There's chicken in the walls, like hidden.
Okay.
So you hit
That's not
like,
creepy at all. Do you really want to trust that chicken?
Okay, so
that's one of the most classic Castlevania things there is.
So there is no wall chicken.
No, 0 out of 10 still.
However, I mean, there are plenty of references to both enemies and items from the game.
I was going to say, do they use holy water? Do they use the boomerang cross? Do they use daggers? Do they do throw the axes that arc, like all those items you would get in the old Castlevanias?
All right, so this is where I'll give spoiler warning. So really skip ahead if you don't want to know. Okay.
I just want to.
3, 2, 1. All right. So no, but you do see them.
Oh, okay.
It's so essentially they go to the Belmont estate, and underground it's like a library full of all the accumulated knowledge of the Belmont family, as well as like every relic you could imagine.
Yeah.
What Trevor does find is the Morning Star.
Cool.
Yeah.
which they
I
don't
like
represent it
morning
as like a
stars.
hammer or like a like a morning star or whatever. It's like it's a chain whip that has a
Yes.
mace head at the end of it.
Oh,
that,
it's that style one.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That was Castlevania. That's how your whip upgraded as you went through a
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
Not like the morning star that I got Sean from Mania.
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah, I got a lot of weird looks at that.
In the game, it's kind of in some of the games it's represented like that because it's like part of a hammer series.
Yeah.
But in this one, yeah, it's like a mace head that's at the end of a big long chain whip. But yeah, I mean, you see the cross, you see the winged boots, you see several potions. I think the cross is in there. I think axes are in there, kind of a thing. You see a whole bunch of enemy references.
I really wish they found a way to integrate those. Like, there's something flying above him that he needs to hit that he can't reach with the whip, so he has to throw one of those arcing axes at it like you would in the game. Or...
No, but I mean the sort of, it's weird to call it fight choreography because like it's not using live actors,
right?
But the sort of the animated fight choreography is fantastic.
Oh, I'm sure,
because they do all sorts of stuff with the whips and everything. And then Cyphia, because she's a magician, they do have references to like the spells and stuff where like she freezes an enemy and then like causes it to shatter, which deals massive damage and basically kills off the enemy, kind of a thing.
So basically, they have the Castlevania 3 crew.
Yes,
because that was one
Alucard's sword
for Switch.
Alucard's sword is basically the sword familiar because he can. It's funny. He can basically Yandu it around.
Oh, cool!
Whereas like his eyes will glow, and then all of a sudden like the sword will just come flying in from off screen. Cool. He does his wolf form. This is like all in the span of like one battle sequence. It like all builds up into this battle sequence where they play Bloody Tears. And like that starts playing and everybody like loses their mind. But yeah.
Cool.
And then that's basically like the second to last episode, and then the episode after that they kind of go with they set up, and they've already announced there's going to be a new series, season 3.
Okay.
So the last episode sets up all the arcs for season 3 and what happens then.
Cool.
Because there are all sorts of things happening that set it up. We see some necromancy happen. So it sets up necromancers doing stuff. Also sets up some like geopolitical kind of things. Or well, more like societal kind of things. It's
society within the Castlevania universe.
Well, so it's basically the Castlevania universe is basically set in like medieval Earth.
Okay.
Like medieval to like Renaissance era Earth. So it's like one of Dracula's like,
so it's set in Romania.
It's set in Wallachia.
Yeah. So yeah,
which is like fake Romania.
Yeah.
But like generic Eastern European country.
Yes.
Because I actually did go to Dracula's castle, which is where I got your Morning Star.
Yeah. But like one of Dracula's henchmen, that is a necromancer, or they call them forgers, or forge masters.
Okay, interesting.
Is from presumably like North Africa, and being from North Africa, is looked down upon by most of the European populace.
Yep.
And so that becomes a thing. That becomes a thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then the tables are turned when they don't realize that oh no, he's a necromancer until it's too late.
Oh no, he's gonna mess us up.
He's a necroman.
Yeah, he is a necroman. But yeah, so we see things like that.
Oh, okay.
So, highly recommended. As I said in the pre-show, you can easily get through it in like 3 hours binging. As it's 8 episodes, 22 minutes long. So,
And the first season is only 4 episodes.
Yeah.
So
fourth
if
season
you
is
haven't
only
watched that
4
yet-
episodes, so that only adds like an hour and a half.
Right.
Yeah, so you can binge it in a night.
Yeah.
Or
Easy.
I can binge it in a night.
Anybody good.
Yeah.
Easy.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
basically if you do that in place of watching like a full-length feature film. And even then it's a short full-length feature film these days. 90-minute film.
Right.
So but yeah, highly recommended. Glad they're doing season 3. And yeah. I'm excited for
Should
what
be
they
good.
do. I want more Trevor Belmont. No references so far to one Simon Belmont, but we'll see.
I've heard Simon's the orig, right? He's the OG. isn't
Yeah,
he?
Simon's from Castlevania 1.
Yeah.
yeah.
Who's in 2?
I think it's Simon again.
Is it
I think so.
the game we do not speak of? And 3, I think, is a character.
I think so.
I think it's Richter. Maybe it's Richter in 3.
Might be.
I don't know. The whole slew of Belmonts. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
So many of them, you just can't keep track.
So. All right. Well, that covers the general news this week.
Yes.
Let's talk about some stuff happening in 8-Bit Adventures.
Woo!
All right. So, really quick, new comic this week, Fruit Ninjas.
Yay! What the frick?
Yeah, because it's been on. We had a comic, so last we left off, the chairman was presumably stalling for time, and so introduced more requirements for Melody to fulfill in order to claim her title as Ironclad Chef. And we find out that one of those challenges is battling the Fruit Ninjas.
I'm so not happy with this. Like,
I was really
get
proud
that-
of Fruit Ninjas.
No. I'm happy for you that like it's a good idea, it's a good twist, it's a good stall.
Yeah.
But story-wise, like I'm mad for Melody because like she already did everything
Oh
that
yeah,
she had to
absolutely.
do. And it's just like, what the heck? Like again, I get it from a meta story world, he has to stall all of that. But it's just like, really, dude? She already did everything amazing. And
Yep.
now you're gonna make her.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I-
one of the things that will come up in next week's comic is, and I'm trying to find a good pun for it, but it is basically a battle royale. She is fighting 99 Fruit Ninjas.
99?
Yes.
Oh dear God.
Yep. And they all have different fruit masks.
I just.
So far, my favorite is Pineapple Ninja.
So is there going to be a pomegranate ninja and a starfruit ninja?
There will be as many ninjas as I need to create 99 Fruit Ninjas.
I'm just intrigued
Oh
now.
no, Kiwi Ninja might be my favorite.
I'm intrigued now to see what Melody is going to do, because this entire thing has been her cooking and then using that to
Yep.
fix everything. And so I'm just really confused as to like, is she gonna just like straight up like demolish them, or is she gonna have to like somehow prepare something almost immediately to fight these ninjas?
All right. Well, okay. So this will be a little bit of a throwing you a bone to tide you over with some tidbit of information.
Thank you.
But she will not have to resort to cooking skills. It will not.
Okay.
This is not a cooking challenge.
Okay.
So and there may be some exposition that part of being an ironclad chef is not just having superior cooking skills, but
Yes.
also the ability to engage
butt.
in combat when necessary. Hence the ironclad part.
Yes. Yes.
Imagine
I
a
am-
culinary order of knights, if you will. And that's kind of the
Yeah.
ironclad chefs.
Yeah. No, that makes me feel good.
So, yeah.
I kind of feel confident for Melody going into that then. I think that she can definitely kick butt when necessary. And this is absolutely necessary for her.
Yes. But it is still a 99-on-1 fight. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll
I
see.
don't know. I just like knowing that the chairman is stalling for her parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm really, really so like there's a couple concerns that come to my mind with one, like, will her parents, if they even approve of her being there, like, what's their reaction going to be to her? Either whether she wins or loses, what's their reaction to her going to be? If they don't want her to have been there, like, what's the consequences on Melody going to be? Like, there's so many different ways that this can play out, and it's not even hinging on if she defeats the 99 fruit ninjas or not. It's all about how terrible are her parents.
Yep.
Cuz I would only imagine that they have a strict rule, cannot kill the champion.
Oh yeah, no, that would be bad for ratings.
Exactly. So they have to have that rule of no, you cannot kill them. But if
No,
she has
this
to
is not
concede,
lethal combat.
yes. But if she has to concede, like, what's that reaction from them going to be?
Yeah.
Because it's just, you're adding parents into the mix, which just convolutes everything.
Yep.
It's like you like to see my brain suffer.
Yep.
You don't even try to hide it. Yeah. No, it's
Well, there will be some pleasant surprises in there too. So, none to worry.
I want her to kick so much ninja butt.
Yep.
And I want her parents to not be terrible. But I know I'm probably only going to get one or the other next week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, tune in for that on Monday. Patrons on Patreon will see it on Sunday.
Yes. It's the favorite part of my Sunday.
Yeah. And then next up, for those that don't watch it live, this will contain spoilers. But Tales of Jamora. So if you are a podcast or YouTube VOD listener, skip ahead because of the nature of how things are recorded and versus streamed. You will be behind. You can remedy that by becoming a $2 patron on Patreon and seeing episodes as they get uploaded and sent to me. I put them up and are available for watching, so you can stay relatively up to date.
Yeah.
So, we don't really need to recount what happened. We were all there. But betrayal.
Yeah.
The betrayer.
I think you guys are. The more I think about this, you are overreacting. I think.
Nope.
Yeah.
Totally not
Oh,
overreacting.
100%.
Totally not overreacting.
I am totally not stoking a fire.
Yeah.
Clearly not. Clearly not stoking a fire for my own personal amusement.
Yeah, no, never. You'd never do that. Yeah, this episode was heavy. Is how I'm gonna describe that. It started off great. And then Jacobin pulled a Jacobin.
I think it was a decision that had unintended consequences that snowballed somewhat out of control. Because the situation was resolved, but there's now some fallout to clean up.
There's now some major fallout.
Yeah, I went a little further than I and my character had intended.
Yep.
But
I think, again, like as we talked about on Friday night, like we had it gone the way that you had intended for it to go, like it just would have been a jerk move and whatever, we move on. But because I ended up dying.
It is still that as far as Jacobin's concerned.
As far as Jacobin's concerned, yeah. But Jacobin also believes that he does no wrong.
Nope. Absolutely not.
I'm curious.
With everything, okay, according to May, Jacobin believes that Jacobin does no wrong.
So what I'm curious about is, given Jacobin's history, which is what this arc, is kind of about, and we'll get into, is whether this kind of dredges anything up. Whether the events of this episode dredge anything up from that.
I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe it's something to think about.
I have thought. I've tried to put myself in his headspace to try to think. One, what was his reasoning in the first place for doing it?
Yep.
For making that decision. And why he felt that way to begin with, and what events up to this point have led him to think that way. And now I'm actually struggling with how he feels with it about it now, and how he's going to react when everybody starts coming at him about it. Which I'm not sure. It may be an on the spot.
I was gonna say, I'm not gonna make it easy on you. I am typing stuff up to be read, because Friday was very emotional, and it was just like, oh my God, just tell everybody what happened, like get it all out. And this is gonna be gonna be a lot of role playing.
So what's interesting for me is going back and looking at all of the crew members' personalities and like what values do they hold, to try and figure out how would they respond to this, because depending on their values, like some may be more deeply affected by it than others, and it may range from being indifferent to the situation to, and it would also inform their reaction, kind of a thing. So like, even if they're deeply affected by it, like, two individuals that are deeply affected by it may react in different ways. Like one may be confrontational and the other may be like, oh, I need to hide.
Yeah.
Like I need to not be anywhere near this situation at all and just do my job. So yeah, it's a little interesting in that regard, is going back and looking through my notes on the various crew members to see, because I think some of them have like community as their like ideal. So that'll be interesting. Whereas other ones, it might be like adventure, in which case, they're still like, well, this is exciting and dramatic. But
yeah, it was.
In the end, Jacobin was like, I warned you that this was dangerous. I told you this was dangerous. The reward was not worth us going to do this, and I was proven correct. Whether it was due to my hand or not.
Yeah. See, and
that's the short of his thought process.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, like I completely, again, as Courtney, I understand why Jacobin did what he did. I understand, his what I understand to be his thought process on it. But
and in the end, he's not terribly bright.
Yeah.
And his choice in the way he deals with things is very impulsive and brash.
Yep.
I think,
regardless of his any growth he's had, he's still
Yeah.
impulsive and brash.
I think it's a fair move for Wisdom 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and still, even though we've had bumps, we've rolled over, in Jacob's mind, we've rolled pretty much over everything in our path, more or less, other than the couple of occasions we have.
Yeah.
So
that is partially my
and him
fault.
doing that, he's like, this not, and that's not your fault. This is actually good.
Yeah, no, that's
because thinking Jacob's like, this won't be a big deal. She'll eventually escape my spell and we'll be fine and we'll just continue on. And I'll be like, hey, don't fuck around. This was a waste of time. Told you so. Told you so. That was the plan.
Yeah, no, again,
Like,
the plan, had it gone wonderfully, it would have been fine.
And I say, oh, there's your lesson, and we move on.
Yeah.
Don't be a dummy, and dumb things won't happen, essentially.
Yeah.
But
again, Courtney understands that.
Things went better than expected. As far as the narrative goes.
But again, like Josh, you got to remember, like May is equivalent of salty teenager in elf years. So like not even, she's even younger than that. She's like preteen. And yeah, no, this is gonna be very, very, very rough.
Well,
is the best way to put it.
To be fair, it's so imagine like a 21-year-old human.
Yeah.
Who will stay a 21-year-old human for like the next 80 years.
Yeah.
And that's basically what May is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because so elves reach the same level of physical maturity as humans do. And then like the remaining time until they reach like about 100 years of age is all sort of like cultural maturation.
Yeah.
Which, humans do in the span of like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, Jacobin's only, I think I have him in his mid-20s.
Yeah, Jacobin's not much older.
Yeah. And he's lived in a tiny town his whole life, like,
yeah,
and doesn't know jack about anything.
Yeah. And actually, and there, when you all reach Twillin, it will kind of be enlightening as to partially why Jacobin sometimes has the quirks that he does. Yeah. I've been basically coming up with certain traits and stuff of regions.
Yeah.
And locales. And what makes them unique without...
Twill, stubborn.
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, you kind of have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, to live in an environment like that.
Yeah.
You gotta be stubborn.
Because the idea is like, because I don't want to just say that like, oh, well, Twillin's just Victorian England if you put it in Ravenloft kind of a thing. To make it a little more interesting and than that. So to think of things like I read a Twitter thread on libraries and fantasy and why most people when they're writing books or illustrating stuff don't get it. And they showed like a screenshot from Beauty and the Beast and everything of why like a library like that would actually have been a humongous commodity.
Yeah.
And they were talking about like the Library of Alexandria and how like one of the laws was all books that were discovered coming into the city were confiscated, copied, and then the copy was returned to the owner, and the original was then put in the library.
They got their book, but they only got a copy of it.
Yes, that was apparently the law of the city.
And in those times, copying was handwritten.
Oh yes, no, it would be handwritten. It would be done by hand.
I mean, and hope to God that, of course, they would have had people who had good penmanship be able to do it. But
it was like the person's job to copy books, so they were probably all right.
Yeah. So it is like in Kirinjo, like this happens, right? Mm-hmm. It happens a little bit easier because you have magic available. But yeah, like any books coming in that aren't already part of the Emperor's collection, which is what sort of the library, the Emperor's library is called. yeah, that book gets taken and you are given a copy. It's just like they do a ritual, like a day later, you'll get a copy of that book back, but then the original gets put in the
How
Emperor's
does that
personal
work
collection.
with spell books?
So
Would that
spell books,
Spell books are
still
special. It takes
be-
spell
special
books are a
things.
special exception in that
Yeah, I'm like, because spell books are different.
a copy of the spell book would be made, and then the copy would be researched to see if there were any spells that are not known.
Mhm.
Or rather, it would be studied to see if there's any spells that are not currently known.
Yeah.
But if all the spells are currently known elsewhere in the collection, then it's just handed back to you because it's essentially just all that information already exists. But anyway, so
Yeah.
stuff like this. So like in Twill or in Twillin, like books are pretty rare because it's damp all the time.
Yeah.
It's dark. So books have a unique tendency to kind of like get moldy and rot really quickly because they just like they never dry out. So messengers will often carry slates and chalk with them. So you might have like like 3 or 4 tablets of slate that you then spiral through. Like all the signs are in glass or slate or stone. Like you might recognize it almost dwarvish, except it's not. Just because stone does not rot in damp.
No, it does not.
In damp, miserable weather.
Right. Well, over thousands of years, yes, but
humans, so humans not necessarily paying attention to the thousands of years.
right, yeah,
so
I
much.
know. I'm just
and in that time, like patches can be made. It's just like with the wood and everything. Yeah. But yeah, no. So it's dark, miserable place, like lots of stone, very dour.
I also thinking about this, I think Jacobin and Joshua are both like ready to be done with the sea stuff. So I think this is part of me bleeding through into Jacobin, where like I've only been on the boat for a week and I'm sick of it.
Yep.
Like,
but you wanted to be the
to be fair,
captain.
it's
well,
been
and also Jacobin's kind of laser focused on what he wants to do at this point.
Yeah.
The bounty thing in his mind was worth the reward because the amount of money involved with that was worth it.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely a means towards the ends he's working towards. But like
Yeah.
this hunt thing was like, this has nothing to do with what we're trying to accomplish. Yeah, it will help us get stronger, but again, risk isn't worth the reward, and those orcs aren't willing to give us anything that great for what we're doing. At least in Jacob's mind, like what they're gonna give us, like fruit and crap or whatever. I don't care. To almost die to dinosaurs. But again, I'm still just thinking through all this.
Yeah, I mean, at this again, it's done, and we're gonna have to deal with the consequences.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also thinking,
but I think
will Jacob deal with the consequences?
that's a good question.
Ignore everybody.
That is a very, very good question. I will say
maybe that
like,
that he just retreats into the cabin, and who knows, maybe like abdicates captainship.
Well, that's one thing. Is like either he ignores, or he just continues like nothing happened, and sees how people react, or says whatever. If you don't think I'm fit for it, you do it, and I'll just be hired muscle and do what I'm good at, is hitting things. If that's what I'm here for, that's what I'm here for. I'm still just getting the twilling and doing that, whatever.
I think some of that really does come from Jacobin is laser focused right now.
Yep.
And he knows, at least from what I've seen, he knows what he wants to do, and being on this ship is not what he wants to do right now.
Well, also, he knows he has to get to Twillin. He doesn't know what he needs to do when he gets there.
Yeah.
Like he just knows he needs
May
to
knows
get
what
there.
she needs to do.
Right. Well, and
actually, May does.
I mean, May does, but she doesn't know how to go about it.
And Jacobin's not particularly thrilled about all this anyway. He's never been thrilled about all of this. And nothing he's done so far has made him any more thrilled about any of this.
Yep.
In fact, he is getting more sour to this, I think, with every encounter and every interaction with Norn and everything he learns about other gods meddling in people's. But I think that's actually what he's starting to really hate, is the gods just meddling. Period. is the thing he's
I
most
have
disliking.
I have been drafting up stats for deities in case Jacobin decides to run his mouth a little too much.
Jacob's going rogue. He's going after the gods.
Yeah. And
Yes,
at this,
good
let's
luck
say
on that.
at this
Bye-bye.
level, Jacobin might put up a little bit of a good fight, but
No,
No.
I think he.
Yeah.
This is
No.
something he's holding in his back pocket for when he,
Yeah.
if he feels, because particularly if I went after Norn, what happens to my powers if I do that?
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
am I just cut off and then I'm just a fighter, and I'm not a great one?
Yeah.
well, I would argue that, I mean, if a paladin killed their patron deity, they probably become an oathbreaker.
Well, would I be able to
become
use,
a what?
Would
Sorry.
I oathbreaker,
Oh, okay.
or would Norn just cut me off before I even get to that point?
Well, that's the thing,
Is
right?
that-
Is that
is that- does it-
you would
or
have a
does
very
it work that way?
you would have a very
Like, I don't-
difficult fight.
Right, exactly.
Uh,
Josh, nor does Jacobin know how exactly this divine thing works. Like,
Yep.
am I just blessed and I always have it, or can he just hit the off switch whenever he wants?
Yeah.
Could I make a plea to another deity to say, "Hey, help me deal
Hey,
with
it's
this
not really
deity"?
working
and...
out.
So the answer to that question I can answer. The answer to that question is technically yes.
Right.
However,
wait, so he can break up with Norn and go after
However,
God out?
But your
Norn
own
is probably the worst one to break things off with
yes.
as the deity of vengeance.
Yeah,
So
that,
again,
that
like-
screams crazy ex-girlfriend all over it.
Right. And again, like, that is just
Yeah.
compounding everything with Jacobin, and he's just like,
Yep.
He's lost. He's a lost soul, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, and he's kind of just floating in the direction he's being pushed.
Yeah.
And trying to pretend like he knows what he's doing and is confident and can lead everybody. He honestly probably doesn't feel that way, and he definitely doesn't always act that way.
Yeah.
So he's just like any other 20-something.
He's everybody. He is a person. He is a human being. He is faking it as best he can.
Yeah.
To try to, like, let everybody around him
Now,
like think he's doing what he's doing.
so
Everybody at their job. That's everybody.
So he's adulting, but he's looking for an adultier adult.
Yes.
So, speaking of which, final point from that session, sort of the ending of that session with our mysterious masked man.
Oh my god, yeah, that's an entirely different ball of wax. May is not ready to.
That will be
even
a thing
touch.
that will, I will say, and for the benefit of viewers that are live right now, as well as listening to the podcast, that was, it will get brought up during the next episode, to Jacobin specifically.
Jacobin didn't see it.
He did not, which is why it will get brought up to him.
I would have heard it. I definitely would have heard it.
You would have heard
You
it.
would
but
have
you
heard
wouldn't
it.
have seen anything.
But
And
I did walk right by everybody to my cabin.
if one of the, and I will say, if one of the players does not bring it up, one of the NPCs certainly will.
Yeah.
Oh no, May will be bringing that up probably.
And this will be a conversation that takes place offline, but there are some things that Jacobin knows regarding those events. When upon the description of it, there will be some stuff that Jacobin actually knows due to his history.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
I love that. There's stuff Jacobin knows. Really?
This isn't anything I put in my. I didn't write any.
No, it's not.
I was gonna say.
No, it isn't.
My backstory is: hey, my brother was me. We're hanging out in our town. Zombies attacked. He died. I went to the island.
Yeah.
That's essentially my backstory.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was put in somebody else's backstory to directly relate to yours.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I knew he somehow was.
Yeah.
Would have something to do with me, but I just didn't know in what capacity.
Yep. So that will be a conversation that happens.
Yeah.
But until then, listeners, you're going to have to wait until next Friday.
Watch Jacobin, Makgara, everybody on the boat.
It's going to be something is what it's going to be. Courtney, have no idea what I'm doing yet, but I do know that May
Clearly
will be making statements.
Is episode 4, or is session 4 of the stream too early to essentially do our own battle royale, where it's just a 16-way fight where it's every
Wait.
I
So
can't
do you
muster on anybody. I have 2 levels of exhaustion and I'm at like half health.
Do you honestly think that May wouldn't just slit his throat in his...
I mean, you know, you are an assassin.
Exactly.
It would be the first time that you actually assassined somebody.
I know what I was going to, and then Jacob and Cop blocked me.
I know.
Who are you gonna assassinate?
The dinosaur.
Oh,
I was going to be able to assassinate the dinosaur.
Yeah.
I've never heard that sentence. I was gonna assassinate the dinosaur.
Yes.
Yep.
Usually, assassinate goes with a person.
Not with rogues.
As the
Not
subject.
with rogues.
Rogues can assassinate any target.
Yeah.
I'm getting better at being a rogue.
Yes.
And then you blocked me.
Yeah, we're working. So by the way, thanks guys. I'm gonna have to put an explicit tag on this podcast episode.
Oh.
By the way, yeah.
I didn't say it.
No, it was me. I'm sorry.
You dropped an F-bomb earlier, so.
Oh, did I? I don't.
Yeah, you did. So
sorry.
I'm gonna have to mark this one. I'm probably also gonna have to mark the stream at some point too, as for mature audiences.
Beto O'Rourke said the F-bomb in his concession speech. I can do it here.
Did he?
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, when you're dealing with Ted Cruz, you might as well.
Yeah,
anyways,
but we don't get on politics here.
Closing that door.
So, since we are bordering on the 2-hour mark, we are once again going to punt playing with our quest log segment. I promise, listeners, we will finish the playing with class series at some point. I just don't know when, because we keep having these like big heavy news weeks. So
it'll be it'll be like early 2019 when there's no games to talk about, when there's no news.
Yeah, everything else has come out, and
yeah.
Christmas season is past, and then it's just that dead zone for a few months.
Yep. So, well, folks, we are gonna call it a night. Just need to start up our closing music here. There we go. So, if you enjoy hearing us rant and rave about all manner of things, such as the Fruit Ninjas comic or Tales of Jamora, you can check out that stuff over at 8bitadventures.com. That's 8-bitadventures.com. To learn more about the Tales of Jamora setting, you can head on over to jamora.com, JEMMORA.com. If you want to support that content and see stuff ahead of time and get other cool perks, such as special access to our Discord, as well as Reddit flair on the 8-Bit Adventures subreddit, you can become a patron over at patreon.com/8bitadventures. Big thank you to all of our current patrons. Thank you for supporting us. And we'll have new stuff for you soon, we hope. Our opening and closing theme is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can find his awesome work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. And with that, folks, we are going to bid you adieu. So have fun, happy gaming, and enjoy your pie cake.
And make sure you have a toothbrush on your desk.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Paladins are overrated anyway.